And as we've mentioned, now begins a period of mourning as tributes continue to pour in worldwide.
Yeah, it typically takes between 2 and 3 weeks for a new pope to be chosen. Joining us now to discuss the Pope's death and the transition now for the Catholic Church is Catholic Connection talk show host Teresa Tomeo. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So as everyone continues to mourn this loss for this Pope who brought about a lot of change and started a lot of conversations, there is some concern about what happens from this point. Can you tell us about the process?
Sure. The process is fairly well known, although it can get complicated. We will have his body lying in repose at the Vatican at St. Peter's beginning on Wednesday, we're told. And then people will have several days to pay their respects. And then the funeral, they're expected maybe this weekend sometime. And then there'll be several days of additional mourning. And during that time, the cardinals will then take over and they'll be gathering in Rome. The conclave won't officially begin until after the period of mourning, though. And then they go into seclusion. And only the good Lord knows how long it will take. Once we have a pope, you will see the white smoke. And if there's not a pope, there will be black smoke at some point to indicate that they are still in a decision process. So we pray and we wait. And we turn the whole situation over to God. At 7 o'clock tonight, the Archbishop here in the Archdiocese of Detroit, as you know, is having a special Mass for the Holy Father. And many parishes, including my own, St. Joan of Arc and St. Clair Shores, is having a special memorial Mass for the Pope as well. So we're all coming together in the church to pray for the loss of our Holy Father the day after Easter.
Teresa, what are your thoughts on the legacy Pope Francis will leave behind? He was known as the People's Pope. Was there a particular decision or stance that you think earned him that name?
I think it was him being so down to earth, and he approached things a little bit differently. I mean, he was still so solid on all the teachings of the faith, but he would be known as someone who treated the church as what he called the field hospital, meaning that there needed to be a better job of people within the church of welcoming those who feel marginalized, and really a very special place for healing and hope for people. You know, someone may feel if they committed something that really went against church teaching that they're no longer welcome, and that's not true, because God allows 1,000 and plus U-turns, and Pope Francis made that a big part of his ministry. So the church is a field hospital. He was also fond of this quote, which is, "The church is not a sanctuary for saints, but a hospital for sinners." So again, I think his outreach to those on the margins, and also electing cardinals from all different places of the world will now be coming together in a few weeks to decide the next leader for the church.
And speaking of the next leader, what are some of the attributes that are needed to be able to continue in this role?
Well, it's very interesting because you don't have to necessarily be a cardinal to be a pope, but usually that's where they draw it from, and it's highly unusual for them to go elsewhere. I think it has to be someone who is completely open, and this is just based on church teaching and based on previous popes. And I've had the chance now to cover a number of popes in my 43-year career as a journalist, both secular and Catholic. You have to be someone who's willing to submit, to be the vicar of Christ, to be the shepherd, and to put the people first. So you have to be like a Pope Francis or a John Paul II or a Benedict, and have that very open heart and really care about the people. When I thought this was so beautiful, it was so well exemplified by Pope Francis, even as sick as he was. And now we're finding out just how much he was struggling the last few weeks. He made it, think about it, to Palm Sunday after the Mass in St. Peter's and visited with the people. He came out yesterday on the loggia to wish them a Bona Pasqua, a happy Easter. And then they put him in the Pope Mobile, and he was able to go around. I saw a beautiful video, I think it was on your network, of him greeting a little girl with cancer. And so this is someone who had a big heart for the people and was always thinking about those who were misfortuned or really needed to be touched by the church. So again, I think it has to be someone with a very, very big heart and a big willingness to surrender all, because you're going to be the leader of over 1 billion Catholics around the world.
Yeah, and we know many Catholics are already in Rome. Many will be traveling there soon, including a group of people from Detroit. And we understand they were already planning to head to Rome. Now things are changing a little bit in light of what's happened. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that is a really good point, because you have a number of different groups that have been planning going over we're in the middle now of the Jubilee year, which is a special year every 25 years appointed by the Pope. And we're calling this, of course, the Jubilee Year of Hope. And there are several groups, including a very well-known executive Catholic group that was founded by our own Tom Monahan from Michigan, and of course known for his work at Domino's Farms. And he started this Catholic business group, and every year they go over for a special pilgrimage, and they had a very special Jubilee year pilgrimage plan. They're still going. We also have our friend Cardinal Dolan from the Archdiocese of New York, who's bringing some 200 people. They're leaving tomorrow. And then there's a group of Catholic missionaries known as Focus, which is an acronym for the word focus. It's actually faith students, Catholic university students, Fellowship of Catholic University students who are heading over, many of whom are from this area. And I've checked in with some local travel agents, and I do travel coaching as well. And my best advice, our best advice, is if you do have plans to go, don't let this funeral stop you. This passing of Pope Francis. As a matter of fact, use it as an opportunity to maybe have a different experience. Because when you go to something like this, it is very historic. And even if you're not Catholic and you're planning on going to Rome, so many people look to the Pope as a leader because he's not just the leader of the Catholic Church, but he is a head of Vatican City State, so he's a world leader in his own rights. This is an opportunity, even though things are going to be very different in terms of maybe the atmosphere. It is very historic. And so I would say you have to be very patient because the lines are going to be a little bit longer, but it will still be a great opportunity to be in Rome. A beautiful time of year during a beautiful year, the Jubilee.
All right, a beautiful time to see as this plays out. Teresa Tomeo, again, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Happy Easter.